Thank you very much, Chairperson, and welcome to Mr Farrell and all of the representatives from the Department of Education here today, and I thank them all for their opening statements. Chairperson, I think even though it's probably 24 years since I set a mock English Junior Cert paper and how quickly that has gone, I think we all have an appreciation of that particular period in our lives and the importance that the papers play in the context of the preparation, especially for the Junior Cert cycle, because it's your first big exam test in secondary school. English as the big opener in that process, and it's a huge step for those young people in their educational exams. And I think, you know, you've said that today, as the notes show, has arisen from the experiences of a mock paper and the real-time pressures experienced within that, as opposed to the state papers. And the first thing I want to note, Cathaoirleach, is to pay tribute to the petitioner, Tara O'Sullivan, for making this petition at a young age, having experienced, and I think all of the witnesses would agree with that here today, that at a very young age would see the foresight to come to the houses of the Oireachtas, to seek that petition, to see positive change ahead of the state examinations, and to also see the reaction by so many thousands of people then in respect of that petition, and indeed the media coverage that has been afforded since. I think I paid tribute to her. We talk about positive engagement in our society. This is a clear demonstration of that, and I wish to pay tribute to her in that respect. Now, focusing on the responses that we have received and the obvious reality, because there seems to be, from the responses we have here, the mock papers aren't our show. We're purely here to deal with the state side, but that is a disengagement from the reality that these play a vital role in the preparation for the state exams. So we can't disassociate ourselves from that reality. They're part of our educational system, even though they're being provided by, and I accept Mr Farrell's point, and I accept Mr O'Donoghue's point in terms of the oversight of these. But then, if we have no oversight, if we have no engagement, we leave ourselves open to the scenario that has been presented here today. I take the notes here from Mr O'Donoghue's comments where he talked about positively drawing attention. But we need a collective, that's a kind of, well, it's up to individual schools whether they positively engage or not. My own personal feeling is that we would need a cohesive approach. Otherwise, we don't have a cohesive approach among all secondary schools across the country. And so the first question I wanted to ask is, that is your statement, but how, from the department's point of view, do we achieve that cohesive approach if we're simply asking for people to draw attention to guidelines that are out there? That's question one, Cathaoirleach. I'll ask them all together rather than coming back in. Secondly, in terms of the addition of time, and I take the point that even by drawing attention here by Ms O'Sullivan, that it allowed the State Examinations Commission to look at this. Can I ask, though, how did the State Examination reassure candidates that the examination papers would be suitable for completion in a 2-hour period? And a follow-on, there was reference made in the statements that everybody was happy. How did you draw those conclusions? When you walk out of an exam hall, you're just happy that it's over, you've completed the questions. You may not have completed all the questions. How have you got a very good sample across the country that people and students were happy with it? And I would make the point, Cathaoirleach, English is a different paper from all others. When you judge it, whether it be economics, whether it be accountancy, whether it be maths, there is a clear determination there in terms of completing actual questions. Whereas English, and it was one of my particular favourite subjects. I went on to study journalism and become a journalist, and I had a huge graw for it. It always was something where you were trying to elicit creativity from the students. And I thought, in terms of English, in terms of shoehorning, and I take the points in terms of the continuous assessment, and I welcome that, and I take that, but I made a note there where you said that adding time was the wrong direction. Of all papers, I think English is one where you should be allowing that creativity to flourish, and maybe shoehorning in terms of the time schedule is not the way to go on that particular paper. So, Cathaoirleach, if I could get responses on that, one in terms of the collective approach, two in terms of the how the reassurance was carried out, Mr Farrell, and how an assessment was done to say people were happy. And 3, in terms of the statement that adding time is the wrong direction, specifically on the English paper as opposed to any other paper, given the fact that we're seeking the creativity and acknowledging the fact that I've acknowledged that the continuous assessment is a positive thing. And I'll just leave it with that for the moment, Thank you.